Hey everybody, it's Dave H. at Dractio.org. The Amazon Lex team recently released support for real-time streaming of audio in the V2 version of the Lex API. So we've now added support for connecting voice applications to Lex in jambonz. As you know, we already had support for Google Dialogflow, so now you're able to connect your jambonz voice applications to either of the two best bot makers, Google Dialogflow or AWS Lex. And this video is to show you how to do it with AWS Lex. So without further ado, let's take a quick spin. Now for documentation on how the Lex verb works, you can go to the usual place. There is an entry on the docs page at docs.jambonz.org that talks about the Lex verb, different features, configuration, gives an example, and so forth. Now to demonstrate this, we're going to need a Lex bot. I'm not going to create one from scratch. I've got one, but I want to point out one or two things. First, we need to be using the Lex V2 console. And then I'm going to use this simple book trip standard template bot that they've got where you can book either a hotel or a car. There's two pieces of information I'm going to need. One is the bot ID, which I can get right here off the main page. Second is the bot alias ID. So you get those two things off the Lex console. With those, I can then go and plug those into my application. I'm going to build the application in Node-RED, as I often do. But of course, as always, you can build your applications using any HTTP server that you like. But in Node-RED, we have a new Lex command, a new Lex verb, and it has a bunch of information that you need to plug in, including the bot ID and the bot alias ID. So let's go take a look at that. Here I've got a webhook and I'm connected to Lex. I want to connect it to Lex and I want to use the book trip bot that I've got. So I've got my bot ID and bot alias ID that reference that, as I mentioned. The locale is the language, which is English, US, region is Virginia. Now this bot is expecting me to either ask to book a hotel or book a trip, but it doesn't give me any prompt right off the bat. So one of the things that we can do in Lex is provide some text that will come back to us as a prompt. So let's just put in a simple prompt here for the user. We'll look at some of the other options later, but let's go through the example of that first time just to see what it sounds like.
Good morning. I can help you book a hotel or rent a car. What would you like to do today?
Book a hotel.
What city will you be staying in?
Boston, Massachusetts.
What day do you want to check in?
Tomorrow.
How many nights will you be staying?
3.
What type of room would you like? Queen, king, or deluxe?
King.
Okay, I have you down for a 3-night stay in Boston, Massachusetts starting February 3rd, 2021. Shall I book the reservation?
Yes, please. Okay, so there is an example of us going through the bot. Now, while that was executing, we get these webhook events. Let's have a quick look here. We can go down. So everything that Lex is doing, we're getting real-time notifications of. So transcriptions, as an example, it detected that I wanted to stay 3 nights. That results in an intent or a slot being filled. We've got quite a lot of information here. You can see it's eliciting, then moving on to elicit a slot or room type. You can see the values of slots. For instance, I spoke tomorrow, it interpreted that as a date and so forth. So all of this information is coming back to you in real time through the event hooks. Okay, let's let's do something a little different. Now let's say that we want to specify a welcome intent or an initial intent. So let's get rid of the welcome message and say we have an initial intent, and let's just say it's book hotel. That same intent that we just did. And let's say we may even have some slots. Let's say we already know, for instance, that the location is San Diego. We can feed in slots as well as intents. So now it's going to skip over asking me where I'm going to stay because it already knows. Let's see what it sounds like this time.
What day do you want to check in?
Friday.
How many nights will you be staying?
3.
What type of room would you like? Queen.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. But you can see that it skipped over asking the location because we had already fed that in. If we look at the intents coming back, we can see that we've got slots. And our location was already San Diego because we pre-filled it. Whereas everything else, of course, comes from that. So that's a nice feature. Let's do one last thing. First of all, let's change the prompt audio to use text-to-speech. And just for fun, we'll do a Google female Australian voice. I will also change this to book car. Let's start down the book car path. There's 2 things that I want to show here. One is that you can use DTMF. So in the book car bot, it's going to ask me for the driver's age. I can speak it or I can use DTMF. The other thing I want to sort of show off is a nice feature of Lex, which is that it's very good about speech margin. It's really quite snappy. So it's going to come to a prompt that's going to ask me what kind of car I want, economy, luxury, and so forth. I'm going to speak over that prompt, and you'll see how quickly it recognizes that and terminates the playback. All right.
City do you need to rent a car?
San Francisco.
What day do you want to start your rental?
Friday.
What day do you want to return the car?
Saturday.
How old is the driver for this rental? What type of car would you like to rent?
Luxury.
Okay, I have you down for a luxury rental in San Francisco from the 5th of February 2021 to the 6th of February 2021. Should I book the reservation?
Yes. All right, well, that's it. As always, any questions, hit me up at daveh@droctio.org or join my Slack channel by going to joinslack.jambonz.org. Thanks, and have a great day.